Hi everyone, these are the colors we're going to be using today for today's soap video. I'm going to make a Terrazzo inspired soap design with melt and pour soap. It's just really easy. I'm just going to be using a white milk base, and I'm going to be melting down different parts to do different sections of the base, and I'm even going to be using some leftover that I had from another project. So the first part that I did is I cut about 5.5 ounces of this base, and then to get the design started I just went ahead and melted it down and then added a little bit of colorant to it. And I just want to say that I got these little scoopers to measure out the melt and pour base from Nurture Soap when I order all their micas. I really love them because they are just the perfect size for adding micas to melt and pour soap base. You don't really need a lot. I'm also adding sea mist as the fragrance oil today because I kind of wanted this to be more of a unisex or man soap because I don't do a lot of man inspired soaps. So I took the other soap mold that I had and I just kind of propped this one up, and I wanted it to be on an angle so we have a nice angle design for this soap. Make sure you spray down all of your mold when you do melt and pour soap with rubbing alcohol really well, because it makes it easier for them to pop out of the mold when you're done. So I'm just going to dump what I have and then let this sit up for about, I would say, an hour or so, just to make sure that when we add the other soap on top, it's not going to break through the layer. So the next part that I started doing is cutting down about 1 ounce to 2 ounces of each soap colorant that I wanted to use for the little speckles as part of the design for the soap, and then I went ahead and melted those down, and I'm going to put them in a smaller soap mold and let those set up for, these didn't take as long to set up. I would say maybe 30 minutes or so after they were in there, because I'm not filling the mold up all the way. It just has a tiny bit of color in it so we can get the design going. And you can use leftover soap you have from another project. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a black color that is leftover. The black color that I used, I did use liquid dyes for it, and then I added a little bit of black onyx mica shimmer powder to it, so it gave it like a little bit extra color to it, because it wasn't quite as black as I wanted it to be. So like I said, you can use things that you have on hand. You don't have to melt down special soap for this. It just all depends on what you're going for. If you have a design in mind, or if you just want to get rid of old soap scraps, this is a good project to do that with. So now that the soap has completely hardened up, we can go ahead and take it out of the mold, and the easiest way to do this is just take the soap out and just start cutting it up into as many tiny pieces as you want. The pieces, when you're cutting them, don't have to be, perfect squares. It's good to have, triangular shapes or anything like that. So just keep cutting. You want to get them as small as you can. I think it looks a little bit better. You can have some nice large chunks as well, just to give you a good variety of shapes when you pour the soap. Once I had all the pieces cut, I went ahead and measured about 6 ounces of just the white melt and pour soap base, and we're going to go ahead and add it to the other soap base. So I went ahead and scored this really well, and you do want to rub it or spray it down with rubbing alcohol as well, so that the layers stick and they don't come apart when you cut the soap. So you do want to just keep adding the fragrance oil to this. If you haven't already, I added about the same amount to this white part of the base, and then you want to keep stirring it, and you would see that I was spraying the melt and pour in the thing even though it doesn't have color, just to kind of get rid of some of the bubbles that I was getting. I want the temperature to be pretty cool on this. I think I waited closer till I was about 130 degrees because the black colorant that I had on this, like I said before, was using liquid colorant, so I didn't want to take any risks of that bleeding and then ruining the whole soap design. So if you're using liquid dyes, that is one thing to keep in mind. It's kind of why I like to use micas better for melt and pour. Also, I feel like they don't fade over time. So I'm just pouring a little bit right now on the base so that nothing is butting up right against the orange. So, you know, I didn't want orange pieces butting up to the orange. I wanted it to be a nice clean line. So I kind of just poured that, let it sit for a minute or two so it started to harden, and then I started sprinkling in the other pieces once the temperature got closer. See, like I said, 130. So that's all you have to do for that part, and just go ahead and start, you know, kind of piling in the little cubes that you chop down, and then I would just do it a little bit at a time because that way you get the nicest design of it. Looks like the pieces are more suspended in the soap itself than actually just all clumped up on top of each other. And now it's time for the favorite part of the video, is the reveal and cutting it. So I've let this sit overnight. Usually with melt and pour soap, I like to let them sit about 3 hours or so before I start to cut into them. You can see some of the mica, I guess, didn't mix all the way up, but it's okay. The design is still going to come out really nice once we cut it, and I actually was really impressed with this design. I think I will do it again. Next time I do something like this though, I think I want to do a more vibrant color palette just to make the colors really pop, because this orange in my head, I wanted it to be much brighter, so next time I think I might use some neon pigments and that would give it a really fun look. So I just wanted to thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave comments if you have questions, and I'll see you guys soon.